Hello, and welcome to Web Design. I'm so excited to have you in this class with me. For many of you, I'm guessing you may have not done much with web design in the past. And so I want you to know that we're all in this together. It's going to be okay. We're going to learn step by step the whole process of how we create a basic 4-page web design. We're going to be talking about making sure that your communication messaging is on target, that you're able to communicate well with the audience with whom you want to talk to, and that they'll understand your message. We'll do it just a little bit at a time. So I thought you might be interested in seeing a web page or two. And here I want to show you a web page that one of my students developed in this class a couple years ago. So I believe he was a junior the year that he created this, and he wanted a portfolio. And so immediately he wanted something that would get people's attention. So he has this headshot, he has the bright colors, he has his tag phrase here, and then he has some examples of his work. And if you scroll, you learn a little bit more, you can see some more of his work, and you could click on any of these things, but also you can click on these different menu items at the top. You could go to his socials this way, and so you can see that we have a very compelling website to begin with. Now, this is actually a very well done website, and not everyone's going to have one that's going to be this well done. He became my TA the next year after he created that website, so he is pretty talented. And this next website, it isn't one that one of my students did, but it's my sister-in-law's website. And she has a website that deals with art, but also kind of this idea with healing and mourning, and that only Jesus, God, can make us whole again. And sometimes not even whole, but he can put back those broken pieces into a collage. She has some different blogs that she keeps here, artwork that she does, Monday morning, which is where she talks about the morning aspect, and then prayer. We have some quotes, and then we have the latest blog posts. Okay, so just to give you an idea, but this is a website that absolutely you could do this type of thing here. You don't have to be a professional. You can do it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what this class in web design is. What is it that we're going to do? So this is what we call front-end web design. So we are going to be looking at how does a website look? What are the messages within that website, and how are we communicating those messages? What are the strategies we need? So if you want people, like if you noticed on the one website with the student portfolio, he wants somebody to be excited and to think in terms of that he's creative, and if it's a potential employer, they think, I want to hire this person. But the other one is a much more calm website, a much more peaceful. And so this is the type of thing we're going to look at in the class, is what's that message that you need to get across and how can we achieve it? And in order to do this, we are always going to have to research your target audience so we understand who it is that you are wanting to reach and what are the things that your audience will expect to see or should see in your website. What you'll learn is it's not all about how you want the website to look, it's about how the people you're communicating with need the website to look to understand the message. And this will be a process. We'll be creating a blueprint of your site first, and then we will be customizing WordPress templates in order to actualize your plan. And we'll talk more about that later, but that's just a basic of what we are going to do. So let's now talk about what we are not going to do, what this class is not designed to do. It is not a class in web development, and that means we will not be doing back-end web development. We're not going to be doing much in the way of coding. HTML or CSS. And if you don't have any idea what those words mean, hang on. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but we're not going to be doing a whole lot of that. We may use a little bit of shortcode here and there, and shortcode it's kind of like coding, but the nice thing is somebody else has already written the code for us, and all we got to do is highlight it, copy, and paste it into our WordPress theme, and that's all we have to do. We're not writing any new code ourselves. If you want to learn back-end web development, you should definitely check out CISS classes or Computer Information Science classes. So that's what you would want to do. It's also not a class in graphic design, so I'm not going to be teaching you all about graphic design. However, we will definitely be using graphic design principles. We're going to talk about visual hierarchy. So the things that you want to capture your audience's attention first, they need in some way to do that visually. Maybe they're larger, maybe they're brighter, maybe the text is moving. But you want visual hierarchy, you have to give the eye some way to be drawn to the most important part first. We'll talk a little bit of color theory, and then you'll make your own choices based on the suitability for your desired audience. You will have some choices to make in this class. First of all, you can build a website of your own choosing. So if you would like to build a website for yourself, like my student did with the portfolio, great, let's do that. If that's useful for you, absolutely, let's build you an amazing portfolio website. Or maybe you have a friend with a local business or your family member with a small local business, and maybe they have a Facebook page, but they haven't branched out into a web page yet. You could definitely take this and you could build that website in this class. Maybe you go to a church and your church's website is not wonderful. Maybe it was designed in 2003 and could stand some updating. Yeah, you could choose to design a new website. Now, all I would say is that we're not going to be simply modifying an old website. We're going to build a completely new one. So like if you were going to do in that example to design a new website for your church, we don't need to ask them for their domain name. We don't need to get passwords to it. We're not going to make physical changes within their site. You'll just build a whole new one, and if the church likes it, then they'd be welcome to upload it, to transfer it to their own domain at that time. The other choice you have, because I definitely have students who don't have a good idea of a website to build. They don't really want a portfolio. They don't know of anyone who needs a website for their business or nonprofit, and they have no desire to build something to kind of redesign a website for something like a church or a nonprofit. So there are just some students who think, I have no idea what to do. And this can be a little bit of a paralyzing step as you think, what can I do? I'm going to be spending a lot of hours on this. And so one of the choices that you can have if you can't figure out what you want to do is you can build a website using assets that will be provided to you. And there'll be a different video that will discuss what these assets are, but essentially it's going to be photographs. It is going to be some basic topics that need to be in there. There'll be a style guide, which would tell you what colors and fonts need to be used for this particular client. And you will simply use the things that are being given to you, and you're going to create your own website based on these elements. So it does save time. So if you have no clue what you want to do, feel free to build this website using the assets that are provided to you. And it's even possible that if you choose this, that the client may want to use something that you create, that maybe part of your website, maybe you build a great homepage, maybe the client wants to switch over their current homepage to your homepage. Wonderful. Now you could actually have something for your own portfolio that you have designed a live website. So that would be really amazing and really cool. As I mentioned before, this will be a process. So, the process essentially is that we're going to introduce a communication strategy. First of all, through a lecture. So, generally, you'll be watching some lecture videos similar to this one, in which your instructor will be talking about your basic communication principles and how they're applied in web design. Then you'll always be shown examples. Usually there'll be at least one, sometimes more, so you could see how it works. And often within these examples, there'll be a bit of critique that's happening, that you'll see a website and your instructor will be saying this works well because of this principle, or they might be showing you one and say, look at this, and it doesn't work well because of this reason. And so I think we learn a lot through the examples. And in the beginning, you'll actually do some of this yourself. You'll do some critique, and you'll be taking a look at website and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Then we'll be learning some tools in lab videos. And so you will have some tools that we're going to be using. And in this class, one of the things that we're going to use is called Figma, Figma. It's a free tool that we can sign up for online, and it's how we are going to be learning how to do a blueprint for how to design what you want a web page to look like before you ever get to the actual website. You'll practice with these tools, and when you're comfortable with the tools, you're going to build that website first of all in Figma, which is that blueprint phase. And then when you like that, then we're actually going to go into WordPress, and we're going to learn with some more lab videos, tutorials, how to use WordPress and all of the different elements. And then we're actually going to build your site. So it's a whole process that we're going to be going to. We'll take it one step at a time, and before you know it, in 7 weeks, you are going to have an amazing, hopefully creative, hopefully web page. I can't wait to see them. Welcome, and let's get to work.